Scholomance has gotten its name from an old Romanian legend. It is said that a real Scholomance exists by an unnamed lake in the mountains south of the city Hermannstadt in Transylvania. Here the devil himself accepts 10 students at a time and educates them in dark magic. Much like in the legend, the Scholomance in World of Warcraft is located by a lake and it is a school of dark magic. Early blue posts have hinted that Scholomance was originally intended to be an outdoor area somewhere around the location of Uther's tomb. However, the designs were so good that they decided to redesign it into an instance. Since vanilla, Scholomance has undergone a few changes, and in this video we will go back and see how it has evolved. Enjoy! The Scholomance instance was first added in the pre-release patch 0.10.0, but if you go to the instance location in earlier builds, you will see a dark portal instead of the Pandaria fortress. These portals used to be placeholders to mark instance locations, so we can assume that all the way back to the earliest available WoW builds, the plans have been set to have the dungeon at this location. Originally, you needed the skeleton key to get access into the dungeon, but there were workarounds if you didn't have it. For example, a rogue could lockpick the door, or you could die nearby and run through the door as a ghost. The instance itself used to be much bigger than it is now, and it was targeted for 10 high-level players. You entered through the reliquary, just like you do on live servers, but after that, the similarities stop. Back then, you continued into the Chamber of Summoning, where you could fight the optional boss Curtonus the Herald. This did however require the Blood of Innocence, an item found further into the dungeon. Curtonus wasn't the only optional boss either. In fact, Scholomance used to have more optional bosses than it has required ones today. The 3 main bosses were accompanied by 7 optional ones, and on top of that, another 6 bosses were required to even summon the Dark Master Gambling. If we also add the boss Lord Blackwood, which could be found in Scholomance during the Scourge invasion event of patch 1.11, that gives us a grand total of 17 bosses. With so many bosses, both optional and mandatory, it's not a surprise that old Scholomance wasn't as linear as it is today. After passing through the Chamber of Summoning, you entered the room that is today known as the Butcher's Sanctum. As you can see, you had 3 doors to choose from here, not 1. Going down the west path was completely optional, and that brought you down to what would later become the Hall of Illusions. The path leading south led to the Great Ossuary, which was the stage for the Rattlegore encounter. This was also where you summoned the optional boss Death Knight Dark Reaver, which prior to the Burning Crusade was part of the quest lines for paladins who wished to unlock their epic charger mount. Taking the third door leads you to the viewing room, another area that survived the revamp. There is no denying that the classic version looks a lot less impressive compared to the classroom look we have today. It does however have 2 doors instead of 1. The east door leads you to the headmaster's study and the south one takes you to the laboratory. And the laboratory is not only one of the most amazing looking rooms in the dungeon, but it is also where you fight one of the mandatory bosses, Raz Frostwhisper. The Headmaster's Study is the last area of old Scholomance, and back then Gangling wasn't just standing there waiting to be encountered, instead you killed one boss in each connecting room to summon him. After its release, several changes were made through different patches. Patch 1.3.0 adjusted the respawn time of many creatures in the dungeon. Patch 1.4.0 improved the loot tables. 1.6.0 removed several NPC spawns. 1.10.0 capped the player limit to 5. In the Cataclysm patch 4.0.3a, the targeted level was greatly reduced to 38 to 48. And in Mists of Pandaria 5.0.4, the dungeon was revamped. With the revamp, a lot of rooms were removed from Scholomance to create a more linear dungeon. The laboratory and great ossuary were scrapped entirely, and the balcony of the Chamber of Summoning got sealed off. The Hall of Illusions and the Headmaster's Study were moved, and now we only had one route to take from the start to the finish. At the same time, the 17 encounters were reduced to 5, thus creating a more streamlined experience. Now, the encounters consisted of Instructor Shilhart, Yandis Barov, Rethelgore, Lilian Voss, and Dark Master Gangling. In revamped Scholomance, you can still see the balcony where you used to summon Kirtonos. However, metal bars prevent you from going out there, and even if you were able to glitch your way out, you would pretty soon see that the view of the plague lands that you can spot through the bars is just an illusion in this version. Similar tricks have been made in the other areas where they cut up the instance to rearrange or remove the rooms as well. The sealed off gate that used to lead down to the Hall of Illusions now has a really broken corridor which looks good when seen from the Butcher's Sanctum, but if you would pass through the bars, it's just a real broken mess. Same goes with the old passageway to the Great Ossuary. And the old path to the Headmaster's Study. While getting reduced in size, the revamped Scholomance did receive a significant graphical update. This is most apparent in the viewing room, which in my opinion is just beyond comparison to the old version. Overall though, I do prefer the original Scholomance over the revamped one. I just think that dungeons should be like the old Sunken Temple, Blackrock Spire, the original Skolo and Blackrock Depths. Just a lot of bosses and different paths to choose from and not this short linear experience. But that's me. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, which version you like the most, the original one or the revamped version. And also, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be back with another video very soon. And until then, take care.